Hello, and welcome to Poems You Need, where two poets who believe in the transformative power of language share the poems that sustain and inspire us.
Hi, I'm Kelly Russell Agodon,
And I'm Melissa Studdard.
and today we're reading poems by Martha Silano from her newest collection. This one we call Ours. And I'm going to read a poem that means a lot to me because when I read it, it was just a reminder of all the things that we love in life. And I read this for Martha's tribute, and she is someone I love. So I'm going to start with this. It's called When We Say It's the Little Things. When we say it's the little things, we really do mean it. A friend announcing at the end of a long phone call in which she shares her love of the red shoes and Moulin Rouge. I love you. How good that feels when you wake in the middle of the night, the worth of that unexpected gesture, like a lover who cleans out the dishwasher filter without being asked. It's the taste of that first sip of coffee, rich and strong, the Mr. Coffee Cup warmer on your desk. It's having the right pen. It's a full water bottle, a piece of orange cranberry bread, warm and moist, crunchy with walnuts. We also love the big things, like Fatu and Najin, the last two white rhinos, a mother and her daughter. You can watch them on YouTube, snorkeling in the Kenyon dust, the calming hum of insects all around them, which is more of the little things, because mostly it's those. The insects outweighing our human bulk 17 times. Bush crickets and pill bugs, bot flies and army ants. When the time comes, we'll make quick work of our little and big bodies, our veined and ventricled hearts.
Mm, that's really beautiful. And I love the idea of writing about the little things in a poem because I know when I first started writing poetry, I thought I had to write about these grandiose topics. And I thought that that's all that was worthy of being written about in poetry. And this poem's not only a reminder that that's not true, but even more importantly, it's a reminder of how much these little things in a life accumulate to mean so much. That it's not just the big things. It's not just Christmas and anniversaries and retirements and births of babies. It's the little things. It's the little, someone remembering to was it empty the dishwasher? Um,
Yeah. Uh, That was an interesting place when I was reading it because I know Martha and I both took classes at the UW with David Wagner, and he would have us do an exercise sometimes where the end of every line had to be the sound of ER,
oh wow.
like doctor, I'm doctor, lawyer, monster, anything that had like that sound. And when I read that, the worth of that unexpected gesture, like a lover who cleans out the dishwasher filter, I heard all those sounds, and it brought me back to like the UW in the early 90s.
Oh, amazing. Well, I think the poem is just so stunning and recalling. Like, I think it would be something that you could, just sort of give to anyone as a gift and say, here, remember, right? Remember to pay attention to these things because they matter.
Right. And it really shows the kind of the depth of the poem is how when we move into like the rhinos,
Yeah.
like it's so beautiful and so sad. And so then it has that kind of depth of there's more insects than humans, and then basically we will become the earth. So it has that different layers of like why the little things are important because this is our life.
Mm. And
Yeah.
I mean, I think it should be mentioned that this book overall, and this will lead into the poem that I'm about to talk about, is really deeply concerned with ecological um, just happenings and trajectories and where we're headed and what it all means. So it's one of the things that I appreciated so much about the book overall is that it's not, it doesn't feel always like a human view. It feels like a geological view of our history and of what it means to be part of life, that it's not just human centric. And I really appreciated that. And you'll see that in the poem that I'm about to read, which is called If We Were Not So Single-Minded. And the title of the poem is actually a quote from Pablo Neruda. So, if we were not so single-minded, how they make it look easy, the slow traffic of cormorants, the lounging calm of a lion like abandoned property. Meanwhile, humans and their hammerstones. What's hidden is how we're more like dandelions than dragonflies. What's hidden is where the music goes once it escapes its strings, its hollow avenues of sound. How far has the first note traveled since the first note escaped the mouth of a siren or whale? Maybe when we die, we get to travel where the music lives. The music of every heavy metal band, the melodies of our ancestors, the refrains of raptors. There must be a way to save us from ourselves. There must be a cloud or shroud or asteroid belt, a minor planet that can knock us back onto a non-deadly trajectory. Neruda suggests we should all stop. Imagine if we all did. Walked out into the late afternoon light to greet small pink blooms on a gnarled tree in a yard that could be anyone's.
Wow. Beautiful reading of that. Right now, I'm just feeling all the feels from it. It what Marty does so well in this poem is we go from big to small, that it's all a part of it. And then there's that line about maybe when we die, we get to travel where the music lives. We get to travel where the music lives. And I was like, wow, because the music's in this poem. You know,
Right.
it's just throughout there, the melodies of our ancestors, the music of every heavy metal band, the refrains of raptors. That it's what I love about Martha Silano poem is that they are so musical, and they're so thick with like words and imagery that when we get to that last moment where we're walking out, imagine if we all did, after Neruda says stop, imagine if we all did walked out into the late afternoon light to greet small pink blossoms on a gnarled tree. So there we have this pink blossoms, which are beautiful, but the tree is gnarled. So nothing is perfect in a yard that could be anyone's. It was such a connecting image that made me feel like love for all humankind.
Totally. And it feels like an invitation in that moment. It feels like, she's inviting us to imagine it, but I also feel like we're being invited to do it. And it makes you think, like, why don't we do it?
Yeah.
Why don't we stop more? And the beginning, how they make it look so easy, the lounging lion, the cormorants. But it's not easy for us for some reason. We have to create difficulty and trouble and, and
You're right. There is that opening where the slow traffic of cormorants, which I love because if you are not familiar with the birds, they're all around the Northwest, but I call them like Batman birds because they'll sit on pilings drying their wings like things like that. And so they look a little like Batman, but they do that for like a long time, just kind of sit there with their wings open. So I thought that what a wonderful image of that. And we don't stop a lot. So I do like when we are stopping, we are looking at the pink blossoms in a yard that could be anyone's.
It's such a great way to phrase that part about the cormorants too, the slow traffic of cormorants.
Yeah.
Um, Going back to what you said about getting to travel where the music lives when we die, um, just hearing you talk about it made me think about it in a way that I hadn't before, which is just the question of like I had never considered before, like what happens to sound or music when it dissipates, right? Like what happens to it? And then that's laid parallel next to the question, like what happens to us when we dissipate, right? We're both going to die in some way, and I don't know. It's a really beautiful way of considering death, really.
You
Yeah.
know, that actually, when you talking just made me think of this is because I think most of the poems or things we've read about death visually show it. You know, it's after there's a light you walk towards, there's people you know. But what if we looked at death through the other senses? What would it taste like? What would it smell like? What would it like with Marty? What would it sound like? So that is, I think, when poets are doing things well, they're using those other senses to like clue us into something that's been talked about forever. And again, showing it to us in a really new way.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this book is amazing.
Yeah. It's like, it reminds me of like, my daughter really loves science fiction, and I've grown to enjoy it with her. And I think, one of the things that I love about it is that it causes you, it defamiliarizes your reality, right? Because you're looking at it from the perspective of
Right.
an alien or, whatever. But like Marty's work does that for me. I feel like she's defamiliarizing my own reality to me to a degree that it causes me to have to really consider things that I hadn't been slowing down to consider. And it's a gift. It's a beautiful
Yeah.
gift given the
Yeah.
reading.
This whole book, the one we call ours, it's a beautiful gift. So I'm thrilled with the poems that we chose, and it was just a pleasure to read Marty's work and to share it with everyone out there. Thank you for celebrating poetry with us today. Information about the poet and works featured can be found on the episode page. And if you enjoyed today's readings, please press the like button and subscribe so not to miss another poem. You can also share the episode with a friend, and we hope you do. Until next time, we wish you beauty, inspiration, and very meaningful days. May you always have the poems you need.